All right, in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to do the thermostat replacement on a 2016 Dodge Grand Caravan SXT. It's a 3.6 gas or ethanol, does not matter. It's going to be the same as long as it's the 3.6. Should be a little walk in the park, nothing too crazy on that. I would recommend to get the OEM one as versus an aftermarket. Customer complaint is that they have a check engine light. Good thing it's on the stuck open. So I think the code was like a P0128. Yeah, so P0128, there's a code right there. And then we have a second code, P06DD. That's not for this one, but we will be making another video on the other one. So just pretty much thermostat housing. It's going to be one whole complete unit, and then coolant, obviously. If you haven't already, give it a thumbs up, comment down below if you have any questions, and hit that subscribe button for more upcoming videos in the future. And we're going to go ahead and start this video right after the intro. All right, so the thermostat's going to be right here in front of the engine, but first thing what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to remove a few things. I would take off the air filter housing box just to get to the actual thermostat a lot more easier. I'm not going to drain the coolant at the actual radiator. I'm going to go ahead and leave that, and then I'm going to actually just drain it from the block and then just top off as needed. Now, depending on the coolant quality, we'll probably do the flush if there's any contaminants or if I see it not in my liking in that sense. All right, so let's go ahead and lift up the air filter housing box. So we have some clips. So we have one right here, one over there, and then one right here. So with those clips removed, you'll lift up the whole housing and then pull towards you while wiggling it up and down. All right, so we have on this clamp, there is a 8mm, or you can use a flathead. I'll go ahead and show that in a little bit. I'm just gonna go ahead and loosen that up. And then that will give us enough. Did it get loosened up? No. All right, so there's this PCV hose that goes right here. So you're just gonna pull that back. So this little PCV hose that's right there. Obviously, I'm gonna show you better angles just right now. No, so and then for the hose, you're just gonna kind of wiggle it back and forth. We'll set that to the side, and then right here, air filter is completely dirty, should get replaced. All right, so next we are gonna be taking off our power steering pump reservoir. So we're gonna loosen that up. All right, so this is gonna be a 13mm. Now that we got that loosened up, you're just gonna lift up the reservoir and push it to the side. Now for the rest, we're just gonna go ahead and lift and then pull as necessary. So you should have one on each opposite side. So lift up from right here and then lift up on the opposite side of that. And then we have a actual cable that's right here. Just gonna actually, so where this cable's at, we're actually gonna go ahead and lift the actual connector tab. And we should be free from there. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and put a catch can under. Now, I did lift it up the car just a little bit, and I just wanna make sure that we get the catch can right over here where the plastic's gonna be at. Now the coolant's gonna kind of spread out once we take it off. So jacking up spot, I just used the lift a little bit. So, I mean, I lift it up right here, but don't lift it up right there. Try to lift it up right here at the lower control arm, or right here at this bolt. So these two areas. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and remove our hose clamp first, because it'll make it easier. So just get some pliers. So once you loosen up the pliers, just kind of walk it a little bit until we get it off the actual thermostat housing. Now I'm not going to break free the thermostat housing from the hose yet. So we have a bolt that's up here, and then we have one that's down below. Alright, so once you've taken out those two 10s, from there, you're going to go ahead and pull back the thermostat housing, and then coolant's going to drop down. And then from right here, we're going to go ahead and, I think I'm just going to get ready my other thermostat. So I'm not going to go ahead and loosen up this thermostat yet. So I'll just go ahead and keep this hanging around just like that. I'll probably just lift it up past the power steering just for the time being, just to hold that in place. So double check your area, make sure you clean it. So I'm just gonna wipe it down. This is a plastic housing. They do sell an upgraded metal housing. So here's our new thermostat housing. And then we're gonna go ahead and bolt this up. I'll go ahead and get you the torque specs on this in a little bit. Now I just have the top bolt just slightly snugged in, just so if I need to move the thermostat housing around until I get the other bolt threaded in. So I'll get you the torque specs on that in a little bit. So I'm not trying to waste as much coolant. So I'm gonna go ahead and slide off the actual thermostat, and then I'm gonna slip it onto the new thermostat. So we're gonna take it off the old thermostat housing. All right, so when putting on our hose clamp, we wanna make sure it goes back in the same position as our old one was. So you see the indentation on the actual hose. If you're not getting a new hose, then what you need to go ahead and do on this actual clamp is you need to make sure, you know, we put it back on the indentation, because if not, you can have a possible leak right after the job. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and open up the bleed screw or the petcock off the, or no, just bleed screw off the actual thermostat housing. And then from there, we just got to see how much coolant's going to be added into it. So once you have, I'm just going to have the petcock or the bleed screw just a little bit off, and then we're going to open up our radiator cap, and it should start, you should start hearing it leak down, and then you're going to start seeing coolant leak. So I'm watching it drip right now, and then that bleeds it, because we didn't really take that much coolant out. So literally little to none came off. But if we need to, we can actually adjust it in a little bit. So we're gonna go ahead and start reversing the order. If needed, what you can do is you can fill up this whole area with water, hot water. Just pour hot water on the belt, because we got coolant on the belt. And that'll just clean up the old existing coolant, so it might squeak in a little bit if you didn't do that. So I'm going to go ahead and add just a little bit of coolant. Obviously we're going to add the orange one because that's what came out. And not that much came out. So we'll probably let this like sit in the meantime. Obviously we don't have too much going on. So again, I don't think that much spilled out, but we're just gonna have that a little bit topped off. In the meantime, while I'm putting everything back together, hopefully that should start slowly going down. You can squeeze the upper and lower radiator hose. Now you can get this little funnel set. Harbor Freight has it. Amazon has it. AutoZone even sells the kit. It's like I think it's like $30 for it. It's a perfect funnel like when you're working on cars, it's easy to bleed out the cooling system with this setup. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and go now, diving in first. Swing this right under our power steering, and then I'm gonna move this hose out the way, and then we got to get this little hose inside our filter housing, and we just need to make sure the little bottom piece gets clipped in. Just kind of push it down. All right, so now that both things are clipped in, make sure that your water filter, windshield wiper housing is inserted right there, and then you're gonna get your power steering pump that's gonna be clipped in right there. We're gonna go ahead and put in our 10 mil. I'm sorry, that's not a 10 mil, it's a 13. All right, put in our dirty air filter. Customer would want to do that himself. All right, so let's go ahead and put in our top piece. Now, when putting in the top piece, you need to make sure it gets clipped in. Right here, we have these little notches that are right over there. Those need to swing right in first. Before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and put on this PCV hose. And then so basically what I do is I lift up the rear or the front of it and then swing it right down while trying to push it towards the car. Then we'll go ahead and clip these down. All right. And then you would pretty much tighten this clamp down. Again, you can either use the 8 mil or a flathead screwdriver. All right, so we're gonna see how much coolant came out, just so you have an idea. So literally that's how much coolant came out, so next to none. I wanna say like maybe half a quart. Maybe a quarter of a quart. Quarter of a quart came out. So that little method that I did, that helps you save on coolant. And then if anything, you could probably just top off with a bottle of water because of the amount that came out. If you measure what came out, then that's perfect. You're all said and done. Now let's say if you didn't do it that way and you drained out your coolant, what you need to go ahead and do is you need to fill it from up top, open up the petcock or the screw, the bleed screw that's on the actual thermostat, and then you would kind of run the car, or add coolant onto the actual neck. So as you're adding coolant, you need to be losing coolant from the petcock or the drain, the bleeder screw, and then from there you would be just kind of supposedly, or not supposedly, getting out some of the air. All right, so next setup, we're gonna go ahead and in the vehicle start it, and then you're gonna have car on max heat, and then that's pretty much it. Just pay attention as the temperature climbs. You should start feeling a little warmth. I would recommend to have the AC off, and then if you have dual climate or rear climate control, make sure that you have that on too as well, so we can bleed out any air in the system. But make sure that the AC button is off. So that just puts less work on the engine, but I can slowly feel the heat coming in. So I know the system's bled at that point. If you're not feeling any heat, keep an eye on your temperature. If you have a little pocket scanner, like one of these EDAGs, these are pretty great on Amazon. It's a nice little cheap scanner. Can't beat it for 20 bucks. This is actually really a really great one to use. So right here, you can go on the engine ECT, and then just pay attention. It's 38 degrees Celsius. You can convert that online. I think you can even convert it on here. Let's do units. So I'm going to switch it up to English. And then from there, if you do plan on buying one of these, alright, so let's go under live data, and then from there we should be able to see the temperature in Fahrenheit. Give it a second. Bam, 11 degrees Fahrenheit. Let it reach 90. The thermostat you should get should be, let me find out what the temperature is. Alright, so 95 degrees Celsius is the operating temperature, so just keep in mind on that. But yeah, if this video helped you out, give it a thumbs up, comment down below if you have any questions, and hit that subscribe button for more upcoming videos in the future. And thanks for watching.